Looking for a place for the whole family? Come down to the Toucan Mall in Amelia's Ward, Linden. It's the mall that has it all. We have great food, a relaxing atmosphere, and activities for all ages: tennis, swimming, and a playground. But the fun doesn't stop after dark. There's even a bar and an arcade. And if you aren't ready to go home yet, we've even got a spacious room for your comfort, complete with air conditioning, Wi Fi, and a private bathroom. The Toucan Mall can also facilitate your event in our spacious conference hall. We also have a theater with films for the entire family. It's the Toucan Mall located in Amelia's Ward, Linden.
Alrighty, a very good evening to all of you, my friends and family well wishers, and those of you who love to look at us every Thursday, whenever you can. Welcome to our program once again, and it's another Thursday in May this time. The last time I was on here was April. This is May. Not only that it's May, uh, I'm not supposed to be here yet. I'm arriving tomorrow. I don't know how I'm here, but tomorrow I'm arriving. And maybe you have arrived already. It's tomorrow's arrival day, as we know it. It's a holiday again. We just had one on Monday. We have another one on Friday, tomorrow, and then we have another one on the 26th, and it goes on. But I guess we've grown accustomed to the holidays, and we've adjusted pretty much to what is happening with that. And those who work loves it, and those who own businesses don't like it. But I mean, you take it as it comes. It's arrival day, and welcome to all of you folks who are arriving tomorrow. I've already arrived today. I came 1 week ago. I came early because I came in on a tour boat. The one I came in on had a lot of speed and power, and so I got here 1 week earlier. 1 week and a couple of days. Anyhow, tomorrow is arrival day, and I hope that um, it celebrates as it should be, and we don't have too many persons doing things that can get them to be departing. We don't want it to be departing tomorrow. Some people will depart. Hopefully, none of you who are looking at my program today will be in that group of persons who depart tomorrow. Some people are going to depart forever. Some will depart to come back. Some will depart to go other places. So some will be arriving and some will depart, and that's how it is. When the plane takes off, there are people who are departing. When it comes in, there are people who are arriving. So tomorrow is going to be arrival day, but it's also going to be a departure day. But nevertheless, we're here, and it's our Thursday program. I know we have some persons who are looking on, and hopefully the channel will reach very far, you know. And um, those of you who haven't seen me for a long time will see me either now or very soon, because there are lots of upgrades that are happening on the channel 2, as far as I know. And I'm live today, but live outside the studio. I wanted to get to the studio, but they're still working on a few things. It's not that I don't want to go, but I want to go when the things are happening. So when you see me in the studio, you wonder where I am. Okay. Uh, what else am I going to tell you? It's been very tough on us lately. We've been working very hard, being very busy, and uh, trying to make people's lives a little more comfortable than they are, because we don't like pain, and pain is not normal. And we find so many things wrong with people. We've been seeing a lot of people who I don't want to say persons give up on them, but who've been told that um, there's not much we can do, we can't help you with certain things. And that's how it is. We get persons for the most part when persons give up on them, and we so love that pretty much because when you come in that state, you will do what it takes to get better. When you know that you have nowhere else to go, you're gonna make the sacrifices and commit yourself to make sure that you don't go on the other side, right? It's not that they like that, but it happens, and we find that most persons who turn around turn because they have no other option, right? I wanted to touch today on a particular science that can change your life for good or for bad, and that has to do with fasting. Okay. Um, I am one of those who love to do it. I practice it quite a bit, and I've had my rewards, and I've learned to make the sacrifices that are necessary to achieve those rewards. However, the persons who may have attempted or who would attempt fasting and would have suffered some negatives because they were not guided. They might not have been um, prepared mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, and as a result of that, they may have suffered sometimes serious problems, serious consequences, right? Fasting is something that is a science that it's been around forever, as far as I know. However, we classify fasting in several ways. Some people say they would do a dry fast, which means that they don't eat anything. Some would do a modified fast, which means that they would fast on certain things and not and avoid some other things. And then there's also the type of fast that has to do with, I call it missing a meal, right? Missing a meal, where you would maybe have breakfast in the morning or have something in the morning, and then you would miss your lunch, and then you would have your dinner, something like that, right? There are many persons who would do that, and they call that fasting too. There's also the type of fast that is practiced where you would use just water, and that is one type of fasting which uh, requires very serious supervision, because what happens is that your body pretty much turns on itself and utilizes what is stored in it, and you can have difficulty with your electrolytes. You can have difficulty with the lack of fluids, which can bring on dehydration, and you can have serious problems where you can become very sick and sometimes even die, right? That particular type of fast, you have to be guided. You have to be monitored. Someone who is aware of what you're doing needs to be watching you to ensure that you're not getting in trouble. Okay, um, I would have done that particular type of fast for about 3 weeks, the longest, right? Because my body is trained for that. I would have done the water fast the longest for 3 weeks. Then I would have gone into fasting with water for maybe a week or two, and then I would introduce juices, pure juices, which would, bring back my energy level and provide me with the electrolytes that I need to avoid me from going into a crisis, right? because you can go into crisis. And then I would do that for like a week, and I would then on the third week, or if I do it for 2 weeks, on the third phase of my fast, I would introduce fruits into my fast. That way I have water, juice, and fruits. Okay? Now, when I do that type of fast, I am more energized than anything else. I can tell you that because I would have been shedding the fats pretty much. I would have been getting rid of the carbs as much as I could have. And then I am energizing myself with foods that are juices that are designed for energy, right? Um, when you're fasting, you have to be wise. You have to exercise as someone just said, you have to exercise wisdom. You have to use wisdom because you you are putting your body through abnormal changes, which in most cases doesn't happen. Okay, most people don't do that, right? And this is no joke. Most people don't do that. But I can tell you that the things that can happen to you during a fast that are good will not happen to you outside of a fast. There are things that can happen in the fast. Fasting can actually save your life. It can save your life. However, um, you really need to prepare yourself for that. You need to prepare yourself for that. You just can't jump into it. You know, when I'm going into a fast, I would tell myself that I'm consciously um, reminding myself that I'm preparing for this fast, and I just don't in most cases just jump into the fast. I would gradually ease myself off of the things that I eat and drink on a normal basis until I get to the point where my body is ready to go into this fast. Okay? When you for example are driving a car, particularly a car that may be a turbocharged or a diesel engine car or turbocharged engine car. When you start that car or that vehicle, um, some of it will have a light on the board in the dashboard. It's called a glow light that will stay on. That light will stay on until the vehicle is ready to take off or ready to be driven. All right, that light is a light that indicates to you that the vehicle is not ready to move. It's not ready to be driven. Right? It's warming up. It's going through the changes of preparation for takeoff or to be driven. So the same principle applies to your body system in that when you're going into a fast, what you should do is prepare the body, prepare your physical body to enter this process or this phase. And then you have to condition your mental state to go along or to be controlling what happens in that state or that phase. You see, so unless you can mentally, spiritually, physically, and emotionally be prepared to go into that particular type of fast, you shouldn't do it. You shouldn't do it because your body will go into crisis. And I've had that happen to me already, where I thought I was ready, I thought I was prepared, but I really wasn't prepared because my system wasn't really ready. It wasn't ready. And as a result of that particular situation, um, I I couldn't continue to fast. I couldn't. I couldn't continue it. So you need to be able to you need to be understand that um, your body system is capable of utilizing what is stored. It is capable of utilizing what is stored. And then after you would have entered into the fast, you would um, naturally go into the situation of the phase where you're let me see what I'm getting. I'm getting some messages here. I don't know what's going on with my not seeing me, doctor seeing. Oh, I don't know. Did not see me. Did not see me. Why are you not seeing me? Okay, is it? I don't know if it's back on or not. I need to know. Um, it's on. Okay. All right. Good. Yeah. Uh, yeah. Your body system automatically engages. You know, when all systems are go, like the vehicle with the glow light goes off and the vehicle is ready to be driven. I can tell you that because I have a turbocharged vehicle, and then I had a diesel vehicle, so I had both of them, and both of them have to be prepared. As a matter of fact, even when it's shutting down, sometimes you may turn the key off, but the engine still runs because it's going through the cycle to shut down. So even when you're coming out of that fast, you have to. There's certain things that you need to do in order to come out of the fast successfully without encountering difficulties. Okay, so it is not, when you go into the fast that I'm talking about, it is not as easy as people say it is, and it's not as easy as you think it is. Your body has to be prepared, your body has to be groomed, you know, and you shouldn't really go into a lengthy fast of that nature unless you would have maybe done 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours. You know, you groom your body to abstain from the foods that you eat on a normal basis. You know, some persons would ask me, but what is your breakfast like? What is your lunch like? What's your dinner like? I can't really tell you. I can't really tell you because my eating habits are very strange. I have trained myself to not even want to eat sometimes. You know, my state of mind controls what happens to my physical state in most instances. People say that you're weird. It's not that. Your brain determines a lot of what happens to your body, pretty much everything. And if you cannot condition your brain to control what happens to your body, then you're out of sync. You know, that's why we see so many people out of. We see so many people doing all kind of things because they have not engaged their brain and trained their brain to control the actions. You know, for instance, there's some people who drive the streets and they play music, noise. They make noise like you won't be like it's norm. And the noise they make will shake your house, maybe crack your glasses if it gets too close or stays too long around you. It's so loud, you know, and the frequency is so high that it can disturb you badly. You know, I don't think people understand that the noise that you make that you call music is actually frequency that is emanated. It comes out of whatever device you're using. It's not physical. You're putting a physical device into a slot and sound comes out of it. But that sound you cannot see. It is not physical. You cannot touch it, but you can hear it. And you only hear it because of frequency. Okay? We said decibels. That's the amount of how loud it is, right? But it's frequency because you cannot see it. However, it is accurate frequency from whatever it is that you got that copy from. You see? So there's some people who would play those devices so loud that it disturbs your brain. For instance, I will tell you last night, I went to sleep and my sleep only lasted about half an hour. This is no joke. I went into sound deep sleep, but it lasted about half an hour. Why? Because someone pulled up with a car and I heard it in my sleep and I was awakened. And then I was awakened from the voices that were coming out of the car. And the voices never stopped until 4:15 a.m. this morning. And all the time that those voices were chattering, that's what I call it. All the time they were chattering, I was awake. I couldn't sleep because I was hearing it. I couldn't see who they were, but they walked past and went somewhere, and I just kept hearing them talking until 4:15 this morning. These people had no, I don't know what to say, but they had no self-esteem, no concern for whoever it is that might be around them, because it's a residential neighborhood becoming commercial very fast. They had no concern for who was around them at that hour in the night until 4:15 in the morning when that person left. And I did not sleep. I got up and I was reading, and then I started doing other things. I got on my computer. I engaged in some other things, activities, just to allow the time to pass. But we need to understand that depending on the level of your noise that you make, if it's out of your mouth or out of the system that is being used to put that sound out, you could be disturbing people. And your brain actually is programmed, to maybe accept certain things and reject certain things, right? I reject background noise. I cannot accept background noise unless I'm touring a place and the engines are working. I will deal with that. But the background noise that is not good noise, or sound, is very disturbing, and I can't deal with it. For instance, and we're talking about fasting, but I'm talking about how the brain works, because if your brain is not prepared to control what happens to that body system, and if you're not paying attention, you could end up in a crisis. But fasting can save your life. It can save your life. You just have to know how to do it. And you have to be monitored, and you have to be able to understand what happens in a fast. You will go through some withdrawals that you won't believe it. If you have parasites, those parasites are going to create havoc in you because there's no more food coming for a while. The food stops coming. And when the food stops coming, they're not eating. And they're used to eating from you. So they're going to create havoc in you. So what I normally suggest that you do or is done during a fast is that when you're fasting, you do a gentle detox. You fast and you do a gentle detox and maybe a deworm. All right. I'm going to ask my operator to put the number on the screen here so we can take some calls just in case anybody want to make a call. If you have any questions or so, you can use the number here, the 231-6477 number, and I will answer it, and I will address the caller as much as I could, the best as I could. But you you can you can you can have such good rewards from fasting. You know, if you know what to do, if you understand the process, and if you train the body to to go through and to overcome that process. When I'm fasting like that, my energy level is really high. It's really high because I get rid of waste. I eliminate a lot of the waste, and um, my body just goes through some phases that are incredible. I can't tell you. When I play tennis and fast, it's like I'm a wizard on the tennis court. You know, there are times when I'm fasting like that, and uh, I just have to stay, keep my posture, my composure, and just do what I need to do. Your brain works better when you fast like that. As long as you're not dehydrated, or you're not, you know, because your brain needs fluids, right? Needs liquids. And remember, when you're fasting, you're not, you're not taking liquid sometimes, and you can create some issues, right? But in fasting, um, I solve a lot of problems in fasting. I'm quite sure some of you do too, because your brain works better. Your brain is free. It's not, your organs are free. Your organs, you don't have to digest, and you don't have to break things down, and you don't have to, so your organs are available to you, and you can actually function better. But again, you have to be trained. You have to understand the physiology, and you have to apply the right techniques in fasting. So if you want to talk a little bit about fasting, you can call. If you want to talk a little bit about anything, as far as your health is concerned, you can call. I know some of you, um, you have all sorts of messages, and you have all sorts of things you want to ask, and you might be a little shy and shame, and you call after the program, and we're done. After the program, we're done. Don't call. But you call during the program, nobody will know who you are for the most part, unless they know your voice. And you don't have to be ashamed or afraid, because I don't know of any dumb questions, right? Um, there's some questions that may appear to be, but they have some sort of merit. Most of the times, those questions have some type of merit. Okay. um, we've seen in some cases, persons even with cancer having to go through a fast um, that helps them to to eliminate some toxicity or some toxic matters that thrives off of what you consume, that will be starved when you fast, and they break down. For instance, tumors and cysts, and um, sometimes masses, as we call them, right? If you're not using the foods that provides the nutrients that can make a mass get bigger or a tumor get bigger, when you fast, you cut that off, and you'll be amazed at the end result of that particular effort comes to getting rid of certain things like tumors and fibroids and even cancers. You know, um, when you're fighting a condition like cancer in a fast, um, it is very demanding, because your your type of cancer, depending on what it is, um, requires a certain a certain type of approach to bring about that reversal or change that is necessary or needed. But I have known persons who would have fasted to allow the body to overcome or to get rid of tumors and masses. I've seen them very successful because what they did, they actually starved the tumor of the nutrients that it needs to feed it or to make it grow or to sustain it. And by starving the tumors of what it needs, um, it tends to shrink. It tends to shrink. Sometimes what we found in tumors are parasites, lots of parasites or worms. You know, I mean, it's crazy. You would not think that worms are part of the process, but they are. And in most, if not all cases, they're living inside of you, living inside of you. You know, and I've said it over and over. One of the biggest, most contributory factor to cancer is worms, parasites, those big ones. And there's some people, as I said before, and I say it over and over. There's some people who don't think that they get worms, but you better think again. You better think again, right? Um, I've had just this week someone who would have said to me that in her back, she had this growth, you know, this she said it was a boil. It's a big boil in her back. And what would happen to her sometimes is that this boil would be round and this boil would be long. And she would actually use a mirror and see this boil changing its posture from round to long. And she just felt that there's something in there that she would feel it moving, right? But it was amazing to her to see that it changed its shape from long to long, from long to long, you know, and she decided that she's going to take some action. Okay, so she didn't squeeze it or anything, but what she did, she suspected in her mind that it had to be something moving, and if it's moving, it's got to be a worm, right? So she took some serious worm medicine for a period of time, and guess what? That lump is gone. It's gone. Okay, so she came and told me and was convinced, and I'm quite sure she was right, that it had to be worms, you know, of some magnitude that were nested in that area. And I'll tell you something, many of the growths that you have that are benign tumors or tumors are parasites. Believe it or not, they're worms, you know. And as we consume foods that contain larvae, uh, you don't be surprised that those larvae manifest and they become worms. Don't be surprised. You know, a simple mosquito can put a larva in your body and it can manifest and become a worm and multiply in there like you won't believe it. Simple mosquito. You know, so don't take mosquitoes for granted. Don't take worms for granted. Don't take fasting for granted. You see? So if you want to fast and you never fasted before, consult with someone who has done it or someone to talk about it. Not people who think that they know or who never did it before. They can't tell you anything. There's so many people out there who suddenly become doctors and uh, and physicians of different types. In under certain circumstances, they're you know they change their designation from whatever they are to doctors, and they're advising you Okay. Now, we had situations also where persons who were sick, persons who were sick, were taking forever to get well. And they would take forever to get well because they were very uncomfortable in the environment that they were being treated. Sometimes the environment that you're in can determine your wellness or your death or your demise, I should say. Right? You may not be comfortable at an institution or at the hands of a physician, even though he may give you the exact antidote to whatever it is that is wrong with you, as another one who you choose or who you feel comfortable with. This one that you don't feel comfortable with could be giving you the same exact medicines or um, applications, and it will not help you hardly, as if the person that you feel comfortable with gives the same thing to you. You'll be amazed at what happens, you know. And it also spells that healing first begins in the mind, right? And it's a fact. It's a very serious factor that does not is not practiced in most forms of medicine. That healing first begins in the mind. If your mind is not stable, if your mind is not um, going along with the process, if it's not in line with the physician, if you're, as we say, your spirit don't take the physician or the nurses or the facility, then chances are you will not get well there. But move to another facility where there's a doctor who you feel comfortable with, or the nurses, and the facility gives off, the right type of of feeling, you know, you'll be amazed at how fast you will get well. You see? So it is important to understand, along with your attitude, of course, right? If you have the wrong attitude towards healing, it ain't gonna happen. You'll take forever to get healed. Okay? There are many persons who do not understand that in your body system, the chemistry that is designed, that is in there, uh, it coincides with like other physical chemistries. And if like we say, like, we hear people say, my spirit take him or her, right? And there's some truth to that. There's some truth to that. Because if you're not in line with the process, for instance, we're talking about fasting. If your physical state and mental state is not in line with the fasting process, what you will achieve will be nothing but probably disaster. Probably achieve nothing but disaster. So it's important that we synchronize body, mind, soul, body, mind, and spirit. We synchronize them to be in one unison, right? Be in unison so that as you go into the fasting, that you're mentally ready, physically ready, and spiritually ready. Also emotionally ready. Okay? It is so important. It's so important. About just over 2 weeks ago, I came out of my 3-week fast. I was fasting for 3 weeks. And, there are people who would say, well, I don't want to tell anybody. I don't want people to know I'm fasting. Yeah, you have a choice. You don't have no one needs to know, but it's good that somebody knows. That way, if anything happens that's going the wrong way, they know what is happening to you. And they can consult or counsel you, or you counsel if you need it, and help you to go through that phase, because you're going to go through some serious phases. It's like a person who smokes cigarette and tries to quit. You know, when that person tries to quit, that is the time when it's going to be so devastating, because they're going to have these withdrawal symptoms that they will go crazy if they don't um, have an alternative. You see, so it is so important that we understand how important it is to be in sync, to be in unison. Because if you go into the fast and your body's prepared for it, when those temptation comes around, when they come around, you can ride it without a problem. I came off of the fast about just over 2 weeks ago, and um, it was as if nothing happened. I achieved what I wanted, and I felt good, but it took a little process, though, a little time to get back into things. Fasting, you get exhausted. I mean, you really get exhausted, because there's nothing coming down. No food, no liquid. It's not easy, folks. But guess what? You can do it. Right? So don't tell yourself that you can't. Tell yourself that you need guidance. With the right kind of guidance, you can do anything. Okay? I had some challenges last weekend. And I'm not going to tell you what my challenges were. But a few people said to me, "You can't do that, Joe. You can't make it. You can't get it now. You're not going to be able to do it." And the worst thing you want to do to me is tell me I can't do something. That's the worst thing you want to do. If it can be done, I'll find a way to get it done. So when they saw me meditating or concentrating, and I actually resolved the matter mentally first. I resolved it mentally first, and then I applied the technique physically, and it was made to look so easy that they were embarrassed. And I said to them, I said, if man made it, if man did it, I'm a man. I can do it. I just have to figure out how they did it, and I can do it too. And so can you. So can you. And I say to them, do not limit yourself. Unlimit yourself. Everything is possible if you believe it. Everything. Everything is possible if you believe it. I don't care what it is. Okay? Healing will happen to you if you believe it. You first have to believe it. Healing, my friends, first begins in the mind. If you're stricken with cancer or diabetes or hypertension or whatever it is, if you can resolve that mentally, and you can see yourself winning that, overcoming that mentally, that's half the job that's done, or more. You see, never limit yourself. Never tell yourself that it's done, I'm finished, I can't do it, it's over, unless you want it to be over. So it's up to you. Whatever it is that you need to achieve in life is up to you. I'm telling you. If it's to be, I always say that. If it's to be, it's up to me. Many of you are going through states of hopelessness. You know, um, you just don't know what will happen. You don't know what to do. You're at a state where you feel cornered. For whatever reason, you feel cornered. I am saying to you that if you believe that you can find a way out of the corner, do it. Just do it. You know, and it reminds me of the days when I used to box. Many of you don't know that I did that. I used to box a long time ago. Right? And there were times when my opponent would, would actually steer me to the corner and try to keep me in that corner. Those of you who look at boxing knows what I'm talking about. Try to keep me in that corner because he wants to limit my ability to do things, to move, to escape, to run, you know. And you see, because I love the sport and I looked at other boxers, how they operate, because I studied them, right? I learned a few techniques of escaping from the corner, how to escape from the V. That's what I used to say, because it's like a V. You know, you get in that corner and you're there in that V, and you have limited movement. You can't go anywhere basically, and that's where a wise boxer would want to take you to destroy you, right? So you've got to know how to maneuver yourself out of that V, out of that corner. You see, when you're cornered and you don't know what to do, you don't know where to go, you don't know what next. That's the time when you dig deep and find solutions. Dig deep, don't give up. Because if you give up, that could be the end. That could be the end. You know, I never allowed myself to be kept in a corner. Never, I never liked to have my back against the wall. If I have my back against the wall, if I have my back against the rope, you better know what you're doing because I'm coming like a raging bull. You better know what you're doing. You know, so it is important to understand that when your back is against the rope, that you've got to find solutions to get out. Many of you are in crisis in your health. You're in crisis with your bills. You're in crisis with your children. We were talking about this era raising children versus the past. It is very difficult now to bring children up in this particular time because there's so much influence that is negative out there. So much negative influence. And some of the parents are not trained to be parents, but they're parenting. It's like some people who are not trained to build roads that are building roads. It wouldn't last. It wouldn't last. You don't have you don't have the knowledge, the wisdom to put into that to make it last. You see, so you know we've got to get to the point where we understand that if you want to achieve something, I don't care if it's in fasting, if it's in your life, if it's in your marriage, if it's in your home, if it's in your workplace, you've got to commit. You've got to learn the techniques. You've got to be able to listen, be wise, exercise sometimes patience and wisdom. Don't expect quick results every time. It doesn't happen all the time. You see, some of you you lack patience. Sometimes you're taken to the point where you almost are broken before you can find a solution to overcome. Sometimes some of you need to be broken because only when you're broken, then you will look for solutions. Some of you, when you're broken, you will quit. You see, there's some people who are in systems It could be in the workplace or in your own business that are running businesses or on a job and are not really capable of exercising the wisdom that is necessary to see that job through. You need training. You need lessons. You need to start with 1 day first, and then 2 days, and then 3 days, and then 4 days. You just don't go from 0 to 7. No, you might crash. Learn the territory. Learn what it takes. Learn the techniques as you try to build and endure, and slowly as you learn those techniques and as you build, solutions will come because experience comes. And then when you apply the techniques with the experience, solutions come. Many of you don't have the patience to do that. Many of you are involved in the wrong things. You want to blow your mind blow your mind through your ears with garbage. Things that you call music. You're loading your brain with garbage. And if you put garbage in, guess what's going to come out? Garbage out. Many of you don't read anymore. You stop reading. Many of you don't listen. Many of you are living on the phone. Many of you cannot generally write things in a way in which it can be comprehended or understood because you've put so much garbage in your brain that you cannot formulate simple sentences. You've got to make a decision to find yourself, to find your purpose, to find your abilities inside. Find why you're here. Many of you are lost because you're here and you don't know why you're here. Many of you have arrived. Tomorrow is arrival day. Many of you have arrived and are still enslaved because you have not removed the chains, the shackles. Many of you are in shackles because you are overwhelmed by the garbage you put in your brain. You cannot unshackle yourself. You cannot find the key to open the lock to come out of the trap that you're in. Fasting can help you because it will make you dig deep if you understand how to do it. It is so important. It is so important, my friends. So on this pre-arrival day, my advice to you, sound of my voice, is to find why you are here. You arrived here, if it's by birth, if it's by immigration, if it's by boat, if it's by plane, find why you are here. Only when you find why you're here, you'll be able to move forward. Because if you don't know why you're here and you move forward, you could be moving in the wrong direction because you wouldn't know where you're going. If you don't know why you're here, you never know where you're going. If you don't know how you get here, you don't know how to move from here. You know, so as we think about arrival day, we go from year to year with arrival day. Many of us are here. It used to be Indian arrival day and it's arrival day. Many of us experience those arrival days, but yet we have not moved from the spot in which we've arrived. until we can reckon, until we can reason, until we can understand that, my friends, don't fast. Don't fast. If you don't understand the science behind fasting, don't do it. Learn it first. But fasting can save your life. I hope that I didn't hurt anyone. I hope that I didn't spoil your day. You know, we'll continue our dialogue next time. But I want you to enjoy your long weekend again. Be careful. Remember that life goes on after this arrival day and this weekend, and that there are more to come if you navigate correctly. Until we meet again, my friends, have a wonderful weekend. Be safe. Dr. Haynes saying good night. God bless you. So long.
Looking for a place for the whole family? Come down to the Toucan Mall in Amelia's Ward, Linden. It's the mall that has it all. We have great food, a relaxing atmosphere, and activities for all ages. Tennis, swimming, and a playground. But the fun doesn't stop after dark. There's even a bar and an arcade. And if you aren't ready to go home yet, we've even got a spacious room for your comfort, complete with air conditioning, Wi-Fi, and a private bathroom. The Toucan Mall can also facilitate your event in our spacious conference hall. We also have a theater with films for the entire family. It's the Toucan Mall located in Amelia's Ward, Linden.